This alien is speaking Quechua, the language of the Inca, spoken in the Andes by millions of people today. By the end of this, you will be able to hear the difference yourself between a language somebody built properly and noise an actor made up on the day. 5 movie languages that turned out to be real, counting down. Number 1 is so real that the film you know it from only exists to give it somewhere to be spoken. Number 5 is the one you already know and have somehow never noticed. Nobody invented the names in The Lion King. They are just Swahili, used completely straight. Simba means lion. Mufasa means king. Rafiki, the mandrill who advises everybody, means friend. Sarabi means mirage. And then it gets funnier. Pumbaa means to be foolish. Shenzi, the lead hyena, means savage. Bonsai means to lurk. Hakuna Matata was not coined for the song either. It is an ordinary sentence. It means there are no worries. You could say it in Tanzania tomorrow, and nobody would look up. So the film introduced every single character by announcing exactly what they were, out loud in Swahili. And an entire generation heard beautiful nonsense. Number 4 is the one people are most confident about. The Minions. Pure gibberish, obviously. It is not gibberish, it is a pigeon, and one man improvises the entire thing. Pierre Coffin, who directs the films, voices them himself, mostly on the spot. And what he is improvising with is real vocabulary, pulled from something like a dozen languages: Spanish, Italian, French, Japanese, Korean, Indonesian, Filipino, Hindi, German, English. When the Minions count, Hana, Do, Se, that is Korean. 1, 2, 3, very slightly mangled. Coffin has been open about his method, and the method is the interesting part. He says it is less about the words than the music. He chooses by rhythm. Meaning is a side effect, which is how children walk out of that film repeating actual Korean numbers, and nobody in the building, including them, notices. Number 3 is Star Wars. That alien from the first 10 seconds, the one speaking Quechua, is Greedo, the bounty hunter who corners Han Solo in the cantina. And it was never an accident. It was a policy. Ben Burt, the sound designer, had a rule. When he needed an alien to speak, he did not sit in a booth inventing noises. He went and found a real human language, recorded a real speaker, and processed the tape. The Ewoks are Tibetan, Nepali, and Kalmyk, a Mongolic language from southern Russia. Bird explained why, and his reason is the thesis of this whole video. A real language, he said, comes with built-in credibility. He meant something precise. A built language has rules running underneath it. So even when you understand none of it, your ear notices the same sounds returning in the same places. Invented gargling has no pattern under it, and you hear that absence immediately without being able to say why. 1983, a cinema in Nairobi showing Return of the Jedi. Partway through, the audience started laughing. Not at a joke. One of the aliens had just said something in Kikuyu. Ordinary, correct Kikuyu, the language most of that room grew up speaking. He was supposed to be gargling.
Don't worry, my friend's down there.
The alien was Nien Num, the co-pilot next to Lando in the Millennium Falcon. The voice was Bill Kipsang Rotich, a Kenyan student studying in the States. They handed him his lines in English and asked him to say them in his own language. So he did. Kikuyu, with some haya in it. Everywhere else in the world, that was texture. In Kenya, it was dialogue. The audience understood their own co-pilot, and Rotich went home a minor celebrity. So borrowing works, which raises the obvious question. What happens when somebody refuses to borrow? Number 2, Klingon. Klingon is the same experiment run backwards. When Mark Okrand was hired to build it, he did not want it resembling anything on Earth. So he looked at what human languages tend to do, and then deliberately went the other way. Take word order. Almost every language puts the subject, the verb, and the object in one of two orders. English says, "The captain killed the enemy." Okran chose object, verb, subject. Fewer than one language in 100 does that. He picked it because it was rare. He built something designed to feel wrong in a human mouth.
You point 1 second, turka, pricker, crocket, zicken nugget.
And then people learned it anyway. There is a dictionary. There is an institute. Two people spent years translating Hamlet into it, and it was published twice, the second time by an actual major publisher.
Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1.
You have not experienced Shakespeare until you have read him in the...
One of the linguists on that translation spoke nothing but Klingon to his own son for 3 years to see what would happen. The boy stopped listening. He speaks none of it today, which is its own kind of finding. But the dictionary is real, the grammar holds, and thousands of people can read a tongue engineered to resemble nothing on earth. It came from nowhere, and it still counts. So borrowing is not the secret. Number one is where you see what is. Every one of these works for the same reason. Rules run underneath the sound, and your ear goes looking for them, whether you asked it to or not. That is not a film trick. That is just how a language gets into a person. So we built an app around doing it on purpose instead of by accident. Shadowing, speaking back, a story every week pitched at your level, and it blocks your scroll long enough to get you there. Number 1, Elvish. To see why Elvish wins, go back long before the films. Around 1911, a student at Oxford was supposed to be revising for exams. Instead, he found a Finnish grammar in his college library and stopped revising. He had gone looking for Finnish because of the Kalevala, the Finnish epic. What he found was not a story, it was a sound. He described it later as discovering a complete wine cellar, filled with bottles of an amazing wine, of a kind and a flavor never tasted before. So he started building a language out of that sound, loaded with vowels, almost no consonants crashing into each other. A long rack of cases, 10 of them, where Finnish has 15. This is what it sounds like. Listen to how few edges it has.
It's changed. I feel it in the water.
He called it Quechua. He was around 19 years old. There was no Middle Earth. There were no elves. There was no story of any kind. There was a language and a student who could not leave it alone. He kept going for the rest of his life. 60 years of grammar, sound changes, alphabets, and eventually a second Elvish language built out of Welsh instead. And somewhere in there, he hit the problem all 5 of these share. A language is not a pile of words. It is a pile of words somebody uses. Words need speakers, and speakers need somewhere to live. So he built one. He said it plainly in a letter. The invention of languages is the foundation. The stories were made rather to provide a world for the languages than the reverse. Read that again slowly. The Lord of the Rings is not a story that happens to contain a language. It is a world that exists because a language needed somewhere to be spoken. Made up was always the wrong phrase. A language is not fake because a person invented it. It is fake if there is nothing underneath it, nothing for an ear to catch on. The genuinely made-up stuff, the real gibberish, you have already forgotten. It never had anything underneath, so your ear found nothing to hold, and the whole thing slid straight off. Which is worth knowing about your own ear. It was never listening for meaning. It was listening for pattern. It always has been. Which leaves one loose end. All 5 of these grew their rules slowly, over centuries or over one man's lifetime. But one country sat down and designed its writing system on purpose, to be so logical that somebody who had never read a word could learn it in a morning. And it worked. That is next time.